Just like California, Isaiah Bond is on fire. Bond is a star receiver who always seems to be open, whether it's through his legit track speed or savvy route running. It seems like he's wide open almost every play, but for some reason, Quinn Ewers just constantly misses him. But when he gets the ball, you know it's going to be a big play. Whether it's just a deep pass or a short pass, he makes a big play with his elite yards after catch. He's averaging 16.5 yards per reception and 6.7 yards after the catch. These receptions are also not just deep balls, as seen as in his game against Florida, where 78% of his total receiving yards were after the catch. By the way, when I say legit track speed, I mean if he didn't want to play football, he would have gotten multiple track scholarships. As a junior in the May of 2021, he set a 100-meter PR of 10.48 seconds at the age of 17. And if you don't know how impressive that is, Noah Lyles, Olympic gold medalist in the 100 meters, ran a 10.14 when he was a year older than Isaiah Bond. He doesn't take time to reach his top speed like some of these other really fast receivers, instead accelerating to top speed in the blink of an eye. He's the epitome of an offensive weapon. You just want to get him the ball, and he can be used in so many ways, whether it's as a slot, Z, or just using him in jet sweeps so you can get the ball in his hand, which has been proven to work as he's averaging 24.5 yards per carry for Texas. Nearly 40% of Bond's touches, whether rushes or receptions, have gone for over 20 yards. Just get him the ball, and if your QB isn't good enough, line him up behind center. He just might break out for 20 yards. These big plays are also resulting in points because he's scoring a touchdown 1 out of every 6.6 receptions. Not to mention, you might think he's a weak receiver because he's only 180 pounds and you might be scared of durability, but Bond is averaging 2.5 yards after contact per reception in 2024, making him one of the hardest receivers to get down once he has the ball in his hand. On average, Bond forces a missed tackle on 1 out of every 3 receptions. By the way, sorry if my voice sounds funny in this. I'm getting sick, you can probably tell. I don't know if it's because of the California air, maybe I'm dying because of the wildfires, but you should subscribe to make me feel better. He's also a super QB friendly receiver because he almost never drops the ball, having 0 drops in 2024, and consistently catches the ball away from his body with his reliable hands. He has a catch rate of 66%, which is the same as Justin Jefferson, and while he won't Justin Jefferson or George Pickens crazy one-handed acrobatic catch highlight play a ball, but if it's in his vicinity, he'll most likely come down with it. I can't stress enough how bad his QB play has been in college. If you're watching the highlights below, you've probably seen Jalen Milroe overthrow him at least 50 times, and these aren't cherry-picked events. I'm showing you every single one of his targets from the 2023 season, and I promise you it's not much better in 2024. Every time Quinn Ewers does decide to target him, he's averaging 10.7 yards per target. Not 10.7 yards per reception, per target. This ranks him among the very top of college football players, and it can't be understated how impressive that is. I don't understand why Ewers doesn't just throw him the ball, and it's not even like Bond is being locked up, and these are just great passes. Bond is averaging 2.8 yards of separation per target, which is literally wide open. In Jamar Chase's rookie year, when he wasn't being doubled every play and got 1,400 yards, he was averaging a crazy 1.9 yards of separation per reception, almost a full yard less than Isaiah Bond is averaging now. Also, he's just a first down machine, converting 2/3 of his receptions into first down, and on third down with all the pressure on him, catching 83% of his targets. He's simply clutch, and his stats only get better once you start looking at situations where the lights are the brightest. Against ranked opponents, Bond switches from averaging 16.5 yards per reception to an even more absurd 18.2 yards per catch. He also has 2 game-winning touchdowns in 2024 alone. Not to mention, you can't run man against Bond because of his elite speed and need a second man to always keep eyes on him. Because against man coverage, he's averaging an absurd 3.4 yards per route run. And Ewers has an amazing QB rating of 134.2 when targeting Bond against man coverage. For note, his yards per route run against all coverages is 2.9, which is still very incredible. In case you don't know, yards per route run just divides your receiving yards by the amount of routes you have ran. To go back to the 2021 Jamar Chase comparison, he had a yards per route run of 2.51. I know I keep mentioning his speed, but this proficiency against man coverage isn't just a side effect of his insane speed. He has one of the most diverse route trees in the NFL draft. Bond has caught balls on many routes, including deep posts, slants, drags, fades, and curls, and defensive backs never know what route he's going to run. This, along with him lining up inside and outside, makes him someone defenses always have to keep an eye on pre-snap and post-snap. All these stats aren't to say he's going to be a better receiver than Justin or Jamar, because stats like those are harder to come by in the NFL, and frankly, I don't think he's as good of a prospect as either of those. The NFL player I think Bond is most like is a slightly faster Darnell Mooney. Both are shorter, lighter receivers who line up both inside and outside and get tons of deep targets. Darnell Mooney also has 276 yards after the catch, which is 28% of his total yards, and I feel Isaiah Bond could have a similar percentage or even higher considering he's more explosive. The teams I think Bond would fit best on are my Pittsburgh Steelers, who just scored 0 points in the first half of a NFL playoff game and just absolutely stank it up. I mean, they came back in the second half. They were playing well. I'm gonna have to do a off-season moves video for the Steelers because that was just tragic against a division rival as well. But this isn't a Steelers video. We'll get to that one later. And the Giants. Calvin Austin for the Steelers has emerged, and I get Roman Wilson hasn't gotten an opportunity, but Bond would provide another deep threat and someone defenses would have to account for underneath. The Giants' slot receiver is also leaving, and they need another receiving threat other than Malik Neighbors to help out their QB, who would presumably be a rookie. Right now, I have Isaiah Bond as a late first-round prospect, with my only gripe being his lack of production.